Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a Some Assemblage Required video combined with Follow a Sketch February. And the sketch we are using today is from Debbie Gatos. And I am rotating this sketch. It seems like I've been rotating all of the sketches lately, but I've got it up there in the corner for you so that you can see the rotation. My title is not going to be in that spot either, but the rest of it is pretty similar. Although my photos are going to be sandwiched together next to each other, and then I'm going to have a little, instead of the journaling spot that is there, I'm going to have my journaling spot on the left-hand side. So I have these two photos of the little guy I take care of. These are his 5-month photos. And I am going to go ahead and put them onto this yellow paper. I did mat them with some white paper. I trimmed down the photos so they weren't completely 4x6. They're slightly smaller than 4x6 because I did not, well, first of all, my printer is a Canon Selfie, which doesn't print true 4x6. But I also didn't want my photos to be quite as tall because I didn't want it to take up as much vertical room on this particular layout. I went to my branding strips. I have a flower vase that just is full of them, and I pulled out a bunch of black and white ones or gray and white ones, and I am going to use those as the border piece, the scallop piece that is on the layout, and then there's a striped piece along the bottom, well, what is now the bottom of the sketch, and so I'm going to use those in place of the scallop and the stripe that she's got on this particular sketch. And you know, sketches, I just use them as a jumping off point. I don't necessarily follow them 100%. This one I actually stayed fairly close to, but you'll notice on a lot of the other ones I kind of take what I want from it and go from there. In this particular case though, I really just liked the way that this looked, having the band be more towards the bottom rather than left or right or centered. So left or right vertical or centered horizontally. So I'm going to have a lot of gray stripe up at the top there, and I think that's okay. I really like it just kind of left on its own. I'm just marking where this little section where the photo mat is going. It's not really the photo mat, but where the band is going. And it's going to get covered. That pencil mark is going to get covered anyway with the branding strips that I have layered up here. So I've layered up these 3. I really liked the floral print, but it had a lot of white in it, and so I wanted it kind of in the center, and I want the heaviest, the black color, to be bordered with the gray because I felt like the other colors, the other 2 branding strips blended with the gray horizontal stripe or vertical stripe background paper a little bit too much. And then I went to my 3x4 cards, which I don't keep a ton of 3x4 cards, but I do have a little, I don't know, probably 5 inches of them if you stacked them all up, 4 or 5 inches, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. But I went through and I pulled out a bunch that had gray, and I really liked this one that has the banner piece on it. And so I'm going to definitely use that to the left of the photos, but now I'm going to move my photos a little bit more left because the bunting or banner piece that is hanging there, I want the space between that and the outside of the layout to be equal distance as the right photo from the outside of the layout. So I want the same amount of yellow showing on either side. So that's why I moved my photos over. I do have these cute little owls from MK's shop, Some Assemblage Required. I think they're super cute. And I'm going to use those on this layout. And then I also have this 5-month wood veneer piece that comes in a set of milestones. So I think it's really cute too. I love the font that she used. I did use some tape to pull the masking off of the top of the wood veneer pieces. They all come with a masking on them, so I wanted to be sure that I remove that because it does over time degrade your wood, so you want to make sure you don't leave that on there for all time. It just protects the wood when she is cutting it. So now I'm going to go ahead and create some more of these banner pieces. Now this part is not on the layout, although the floral pieces that are on the sketch are in that corner. So I'm going to go ahead and work in that corner, but I'm going to use more of these banner or bunting kind of flags. I don't know what you call them. So I have them in, I have two different pieces of paper here. The pattern is different on both of them. And so I'm going to layer them up in the upper right hand corner, but I'm just going to put one of them down here at the bottom to be my third little area where my 5-month piece is going to fit. Now I don't really want my photos to have the join or the line where the two photos meet come right down to the center of that bunting piece. So I'm kind of moving it a little bit more left so that the point of, or the indentation on that bunting piece is not right where the line comes down. I thought that would be kind of weird. I am just inking everything up in a little bit of black soot, and I really like the way that that looks. It's giving a lot of definition to the pieces, and I'm putting quite a bit on because my black soot is not super juicy. So I'm going over it more times than I normally would because I want it a little darker than I normally go. Now, the two bunting pieces that are on there kind of have the same angles for the bunting pieces because I just used my ruler as the width of my ruler as kind of a guide to where I was marking the center. So it's equally distanced from the bottom, and in this case, this one I made it so it's not quite as deep. The V cut is not as deep. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little hard to explain. But I wanted it to be a little bit different so it's visually not exactly identical, and just it has a little bit more interest to it. So I kind of set the layout on my table, and I knew I wanted to add something to it, but I wasn't quite sure. So I came back the next day, and I remembered I had these vellum sprigs of leaves in my stash. And so I'm going to go ahead and use those. And these, I believe, are from a paper pumpkin kit from Stampin' Up! And I don't even know what else was in the kit because I don't subscribe to them. I think a friend of mine was getting rid of them, and I was like, oh, I'll take those. I'll just stick them in my bin of white things, which they're not really white. They're kind of they're vellum, so they're not colored. They're kind of just a gray color, but that's what I like about them because they add a texture, but they don't add a lot of color. And so I'm going to add a couple of those to each one of my little embellishment areas. And I think that's super cute. And it's going to add a little bit more interest, but it's not going to detract from anything because, again, it's vellum, so it's see-through. It also does give me a little bit of an organic shape on the layout, which I think it really needed because there's a lot of straight lines on this particular layout. Nothing is really soft, and this kind of just softens it up just a bit. And I'm just using a tiny bit of glue to adhere those on because if you use a lot of glue with vellum, it tends to roll up. So I'm just putting a tiny bit on the stems and tucking them in and going from there. And then lastly, I have these little viewfinders or Viewmaster reels that MK had in her shop, and I think she's probably out of stock on these, but there's a white one, and there was a black one, and there was a wood grain one. I've used all of the wood grain one. I just have the hearts from the black one left, and as you can see, I still have the white ones there. But I'm using the micro glue dots to adhere these little tiny hearts down, and I'm just putting a little trio of hearts in each one of my cluster areas to just kind of finish it off. And those little micro dots is, I think, the first time I've actually bought micro. I didn't even know they had them. I've always bought the mini ones or bling zots. And when I was looking to get more because I'm almost out of my mini dots. I saw they had micro ones, so I was like, oh, let me get those and see what those are like. And they're perfect for these little hearts, and they'd probably be really perfect for sequins and such because they are so tiny. And that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those down below. I'll put links to the products that are available that I used today down below for you in case that's something that you're interested in. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Don't forget to check out the playlist down below of everyone else playing along with Follow a Sketch February, and go give Sandy a little bit of love over at her channel, State Goddess, for putting this whole series together. I'll be back again with another video real soon, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.